Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here at CeBIT, beautiful Hanover, Germany, with you. Today I want to spend the next 30 minutes talking about a very simple concept that was the reason why we started Ustream, which really is the power of live. And when you take a moment and step back and look at what live can do, it's very powerful. It can bring people together, like us here today, having a shared experience around a particular topic. And because it brings people together, you can have meaningful connections and interactivity, which is extremely important. It makes the web alive. It's not necessarily just leaning back and consuming information on a page. You're engaged. There are other participants in the live event, and you can have an experience. It's not just consuming media, as an example. Just a brief intro to myself and Ustream. I started Ustream 3 years ago with co-founders Brad Hunstable and Dr. Gila Farrer. And we started the company because we wanted to create an open platform where anyone here could go live on the internet and interact with many people. Brad and I, we were officers in the U.S. Army during the years of 2000 and 2005. And the U.S. was at war with Iraq, and we were deployed overseas. And we were really busy. I mean, we had limited time, maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day for personal things. And we found ourselves in a situation where we were constantly making trade-offs among our loved ones. And so we were saying, should I call my parents? Should I call my siblings? Should I call my friends? We didn't have enough time to connect with everyone we cared about. And so we started talking about, what if we created an open platform on the internet that anyone could use, and you could connect with a lot of people at once in a meaningful way. And the more we thought about it, we said, wow, this sounds like a really good idea. And the number one reason why we started Ustream was we saw the power of live and what live could do. And so in the next 28 minutes, I want to share with you the vision and the opportunity that we saw when we started the company. And it really revolves around three main things. The first, we saw how media was initially framed, even before the internet was around. How are we being conditioned to consume mass media? And in short, we were being conditioned to watch it together, watching the same thing together. If you think about linear TV, terrestrial TV, that's the behavior that existed prior to the internet. And then, secondly, the internet came about, and it started changing everything. And part of what it changed was how we consume media. And the way that it initially did this in the adoption curve is really interesting. Rather than using the internet to come together and have shared experiences, we used it for our convenience, and we used it to do things on our own time. Everything became on demand. It was on-demand video, it was time-shifted TV. We were using the internet essentially to become separated. And that's a very big point. We saw that people were becoming separated. And then lastly, we saw that the internet, in many cycles going forward, after all the infrastructure investments came to bear, and broadband was really ubiquitous, that people would once again come together online. You'd have a mobile phone in everyone's pocket, enabled with the internet, and you could once again broadcast live, and you could also watch live and interact. And we saw that. We didn't know if it was going to happen 2 years out. We didn't know if it was going to happen 7 years out. But we knew that eventually this connected world would exist, and so people would be coming back together on the internet. So before the internet, clearly we were used to watching things together. Many of you might remember when the Beatles first appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, very popular American TV talk show. When that happened, 74 million people tuned in to watch that. We're being conditioned to watch things together. It's a very obvious behavior. You'll remember other very memorable milestones like landing on the moon, and how as a society we're used to tuning in to watch something together, and then likely the next day when people go to work, or the next day when everyone goes on, people talk about these events. And that's how we consume media before the internet. This slide is illustrative of how things changed as internet penetration grew. So if you look at the blue line, that represents internet penetration over time. And the x-axis is from 1992 to 2008. And clearly, over time, the internet is penetrating our households. Not only is it in commercial buildings, but it's in the residential buildings. And now it's in your pocket. And so the internet continues to penetrate our lives. The green line is very indicative of the main point that I'm making, which is the green line represents average household TV viewership share of season finales. It represents us coming together to watch the season finales of popular TV shows. And you can see that that line is declining over time. If you look to the right, MASH, very popular American TV show, back in 1983, 60% of households tuned in to watch the last episode of MASH. That's a staggering number. 60% of us tuned in to watch the same thing. A decade later, another popular TV show, Cheers, 46%. Clearly that number is declining. And then if you skip forward a few years, Seinfeld, everyone remembers Seinfeld? 41% of us are tuning in to watch the last episode of a very popular TV show. Why? Because we don't have to tune in anymore. It's on demand. I'll watch it later. And so this is a very powerful trend. Technology, the internet as a proxy for technological advancement, is separating us. And we saw this when we founded the company. Take this all the way out, you can see the lines diverge clearly over time. So as the internet's penetrating, it's separating us. That's also affecting communications. So if you look at a survey that was conducted asking business people how much time you spend on an average business day on email correspondence, 29% said less than 1 hour. 37% said 1 to 2 hours. 25% said 2 to 3 hours. And 8% of us said greater than 3 hours a day. Clearly, the internet in your pocket is causing you to be separated. I mean, raise your hand if you spend more, and be honest, than 3 hours a day on some form of email activity. Pretty expected from this group. In late 2009, the average business owner spent nearly 20% of their workday responding to an average of 109 business emails, according to the survey. So not only are we no longer watching things together, we're separated now, and we are communicating differently. This trend is also affecting how we consume media. The chart shows internet video and time-shifted TV as a percentage of total TV time. And you can see from Q4 '07 to Q3 '09, there's a 32% CAGR, very steady up and to the right growth of consumption that is on demand. We no longer as a society feel like we need to tune in. We no longer as a society feel like we need to share an experience. We're prioritizing convenience in this on-demand consumptive behavior. And you can see at the bottom of the chart some of the major brands that are driving this behavior. And this is my favorite quote that nicely sums up the impact of this change to our everyday lives. And it's a quote by Rachel Dretzen in a PBS documentary series called Digital Nation that looked at how these changes were affecting our everyday lives. And I'll read the quote. It says, "It really hit me one night, not that long ago. I was in the kitchen, I was cooking dinner, chopping vegetables, and my husband was in the next room on his laptop. And across the table from my husband was my oldest son, who was also on a laptop doing his homework. And my younger kids had picked up my iPhone, and it just hit me. We're all in the same house, but we're also in other worlds. It just kind of snuck up on us I didn't see it coming. So for the people in the back, that's the quote. And it really summarizes quite nicely how there's been a very powerful trend in the past decade. Some of us were aware of it, and some of us might say it snuck up on you. But I'm here to say that things are changing again. And that because of two major trends that we saw when we founded the company and are definitely occurring, the future is live again. We're coming back together to have shared experiences. And the first major trend is the internet's becoming more real-time. And the second one is all things mobile. So clearly, the leading search company is moving in to becoming more real-time. This is a search result for Ustream on Google. Inarguably, the internet's becoming more real-time. Their applications, social networks are becoming more real-time. Everyone's mobile phone, everyone's smartphone has more and more real-time functionality. That's a very powerful trend, a trend that can shape how we consume media. The second point is the internet is accessible. It's with you all the time. If you think back just 5 to 7 years, and you really take a moment to pause with the benefit and perspective of hindsight, you didn't always have access to the internet. You might find yourself throughout the day saying, okay, when I get back to the office or when I get back home, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Now, the internet is with you at all times. And that presents enablement for a service like Ustream, and we'll talk about that. This chart shows the bar on the left is laptop owners, mobile computers. 46% own a laptop, and that number is just increasing. The bar to the right is broadband usage. 28% have accessed the internet via mobile broadband. 55% have accessed the internet via Wi-Fi. In Asia, 3G penetration is already 70% in Japan and South Korea. It's definitely past the tipping point. This is a very powerful trend that's starting to create such momentum that it's inevitable that that's the direction that things are going. The internet now is with you at all times. The internet is mobile. This is a snapshot of iPhone user behavior. Over 85% use email. Over 80% browse news and information sites. Over 60% use a news or information app. I'm always checking the news on my iPhone, I will admit. And over 30% watch mobile video. This is our behavior in the computer in our pocket. And then the question becomes, how will that change the way we consume media? And we have a really exciting vision at Ustream, and we want to shape how that occurs, how you're going to be alerted and converted of interesting live media as it happens around the world, and you can pull out your iPhone or your smartphone, your BlackBerry, whatever, your Android phone, click a button, and you can watch. It's no longer just watching mass media. You might be watching a tsunami that's about to hit in Hawaii, or you might be watching breaking news of a young child that's in a balloon flying across the U.S., which was an actual breaking news story. Mobile is a permanent fixture in our lives. I think no one would argue against this point. And the internet is now with us all the time. This chart shows in the x-axis 2008 actual to 2013 forecast. And the y-axis shows mobile internet use in the United States and millions of people. Clearly, you can see the trend. And the blue bars show that by 2013, 43.5% of mobile users will access the internet via their mobile phone. And at the top, by 2013, 97% of Americans will own a mobile phone. So clearly, this is a trend that's not slowing down. Worldwide shipments of smartphones total more than 300 million in 2008 to 2009. That's a staggering number. It's a staggering number. And all this enablement is allowing the live world to be redistributed. And each phone not only can allow you to check your email, which you do more than 3 hours a day, check news sites, but now you can live broadcast from your cell phone. And when you live broadcast from a cell phone, that means every single person in here can create a live channel. And that means in this room there are potentially hundreds of live channels that we as a viewer can sift through and discover on our cell phones. And that presents a tremendous opportunity for us. These real-time social networks are the vehicles upon which you, through your social graph, will be alerted of interesting live events that are happening right now that you might be interested in. A good example is a popular U.S. country music artist, Taylor Swift. She's very popular in the U.S., and she's also popular in Japan. I just found this out recently. But she uses Ustream. And when she goes live and presses the Start Broadcast button, there are hundreds of thousands of Japanese that have signed up to say, when that moment happens, please let us know. Please send us a text message. Please send us a tweet. Please let us know through Facebook, because we want to go and interact with Taylor. We want an opportunity to access her and ask her questions and things like that. So these real-time social nets, in that aspect of the social networks becoming real-time, is such an enabling aspect of this ecosystem, which all enable us to view and consume live media on our cell phones. Any event now, however large, small, or improbable, can have an audience. You know, when we started this company, we wanted Ustream to be an open platform. That's really important to us. We want to make sure that everyone has this functionality. We're not going to pick and choose and say, you can have this great functionality, but you know, this segment of the market over here, you know, for whatever reason, can't. It's very important to us to be an open platform. From day one, we were open. We're going to continue to be open. That means that politicians can use Ustream to go live and interact with constituents. We have the White House in the U.S. using Ustream. We have sporting events. Really exciting trend to see in the U.S. is the sports that didn't have a broadcast channel can now broadcast their games. A lot of colleges, a lot of Tier 2, Division 2 sports that previously couldn't get on TV, local TV, obviously not national TV, can now broadcast. And now parents and fans can watch live. This is a trend I'm really excited about. I've met more than one college athlete that has approached us and said, thank you. Now my mother and my sister can watch my volleyball games. Previously, they watched all throughout high school because I lived with them, you know, when I lived at home. But I went off to college, and they were no longer able to make my games. But through an open platform, they're now able to continue to follow my athletic career. We also have really exciting personal examples. This is Puppy Cam. Just wondering here in Europe, in Germany, if anyone has heard of Puppy Cam. Please raise your hand if you've heard of Puppy Cam. Let's see. Okay, well, Puppy Cam was a viral live stream of 6 Shiba Inu puppies in the U.S. It was one of the most viral videos in all of 2008. It reached 33 million people worldwide. And it's essentially a live stream of 6 puppies that were very cute. They've all grown up and gone off to homes. But this is an example of what can happen when we enable everyone as an open platform to go live. And this is great content. 33 million people tuned in, and they were absolutely just, addicted, essentially, in watching this very cute stream of puppies. And Puppy Cam was on the Today Show multiple times. It was on CNN. It was a big hit in the U.S. the internet, through live, real-time experiences such as video, is reconnecting us. And this kind of brings everything back. Whether it's on a one-to-one connection, whether it's video collaboration, or it's one-to-many, which is our sweet spot. This is Nick Jonas, one of the Jonas Brothers, promoting a new song that was coming out. Video is connecting us. It's bringing us back together. When Nick went live, there were many Jonas Brothers fans that tuned in to want to watch and interact and share this experience. And live can be many things in this new world, in this connected world. And I'm just going to share a few examples. Live can be now exclusively online. This is a famous NFL football player, Chad Ochocinco. He plays on the Cincinnati Bengals, and he goes live to interact with his fans. In Sporting News, in a recent interview, asked him, "Why do you spend so much time on Ustream?" And he replies, "I'm just enjoying having my own voice and not allowing the media to say how I am, let fans see for themselves." So live can be exclusively online, at a blog, at a major sports site. Live can be from online to in person. Non-live web content archetype, the blue line shows video on demand, consumptive behavior. It's very asynchronous. It's not coordinated. And the green line shows TV programming. And you can see that when the consumption is very fragmented, it's hard to have a call to action, to convert, to drive up traditional TV viewership. However, when the initial content is live and interactive, and it's a live interactive web content archetype, then you can pull an audience and you can have a good conversion rate as a call to action to drive traditional TV programming viewership. And we saw this with the 2009 American Music Awards, where the pre-show and the red carpet was live on Ustream. There's about 2 million people that tuned into Ustream to watch this pre-show. And then when the live TV show started of the American Music Awards, there was a direct call to action to say, go watch the live TV show now. And then the American Music Awards said that their Nielsen ratings for that year were 2 million people more than 2008. Now, there isn't a direct measurement that can say the increase was 100% from Ustream, but clearly there's an assumptive correlation. Live can be online and in person. This is an example of this new form of media not only helping people on site, but also online. So KISS, a very popular music band, recently streamed one of their concerts at the Los Angeles Staples Center in November of 2009. And over 1 million unique viewers tuned in for an average time of 43 minutes each. And over 25,000 tuned in from their mobile phone. So KISS was going to have the concert anyways at the LA Staples Center. But they decided to go live and reach the online audience. And the people that couldn't make it to the Staples Center, they still wanted those people to be able to experience it live. And I was one of them. I was actually driving down the freeway somewhere, and I was watching the concert from my iPhone. Very dangerous. You probably shouldn't do that, but I just watched for a second to make sure that things were going well. But this is an example of the new world, in the sense that the connected world, where the internet is with you in your pocket at all times, and you can now watch live events that you would missed otherwise. So this brings it all back. I've got 40 seconds left in my 30 minutes. Just to say, previously we were used to watching things together before the internet. Clearly, when the internet came about, it separated everyone. On demand, DVRs, doing things on your own time conveniently. And now, with mobile and the internet in everyone's pocket, the future is live again. And we're able to come together and share experiences like we once did before. So thank you, everyone. It's great to be here at CeBIT.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. That was a great presentation, and I think we learned a lot. And it was interesting also because before, as I mentioned, we just heard about the virtual world and its advantages, and now we get something different. And I think that we have some questions. So please feel free to put questions if you want to. Just raise your finger. We can also have a look at the Twitter wall and see how many questions and comments we've got there. I think we've got a couple of questions. Let's see. There's nothing. Oh yeah, there's some. How are we going to organize all sending and receiving real-time information in the future? So how do we organize all this?
That's a huge, huge challenge. It's an algorithm challenge, and I think it's an infrastructure challenge. Clearly, it's going to be a function of user metadata, both on the sending side and the receiving side, as well as intelligent systems. Whether these intelligent systems can be software that scans live video and tries to do object recognition. I have seen and evaluated most of the software out there in the market, and I'll say it's early in that technology's development. There are some exciting softwares. 2 Stanford PhDs from the same program as the Google founders created a company that does that, and I think it's really promising. But until those kind of softwares really reach the right point, it's going to be mostly the users that are going to be creating this metadata.
Mm-hmm. Another question tweeted is, what is the next product step for Ustream? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you have in mind?
So we recently announced a major round of funding for the company. And we announced $75 million in our Series B. And so with that, it's a whole new phase of this company. It's so exciting. And we want to take this opportunity to step back and think about our product in a new way, because we're bringing on a lot more team members. So I think what you can expect is Ustream's product to change dramatically, but I think you'll like the way that we're listening to our community and then working with the community to take it in exciting new directions. So we're going to look at things in a way that's giving us a chance to kind of take a step back, rethink everything, utilize the capital at hand, and try to bring something really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got a last question as well. If we look into the future, where do you see traditional ways of communication, like email, for example? Mm-hmm. Will this lose meaning compared to what you are offering?
So the traditional communication tools and channels are so ensconced currently, and the volume as well as the investment by the user to understand those systems, it's huge inertia to overcome and or inflect. So I think in the interim, a lot of complementary systems will exist that provide extensions in terms of functionality that email wouldn't provide. And so if in that set of new applications there is something that strikes a chord, and there have been here recently, that presents a tremendous opportunity. And so I'm not going to say that any very core communication system like the phone or email is declining. I think that's going to be around for many years. But I think what's exciting is to find ways to innovate and create extensions and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you very much for being
with
us
today.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. John Hamm, thank you.
Thanks.